Welcome to Heaping Spoonful, a twice-monthly conversation with restaurateurs, chefs, growers, and others who have helped generate the legends associated with eateries across the Mid-South. The team at Benny Keith is proud to sponsor this adventure with the goal of preserving the stories that have helped cultivate an amazing food scene across the Mid-South. So kick back and enjoy a Heaping Spoonful.
Greetings, everybody out there in podcast land, and welcome to Heaping Spoonful. I'm your host, Kelly Bass, and I really appreciate Benny Keith Foods giving me the chance to visit with many of the top chefs and restaurateurs across the Mid-South on these podcasts. I have been a foodie since long before anyone ever used that term. And for the better part of 30 years, I had the privilege of writing dining reviews for a couple of Little Rock newspapers and then magazines, long before the internet gave everyone a chance to be a food critic. But I will say, I've learned to love talking about food a lot more than writing about it. Today, our guest is Jason Cottingham. He's the owner and operator of Hogs BBQ, which is really taken on many forms. It's a competitive barbecue team, morphed into a catering operation, and then a food trailer. So welcome to Heaping Spoonful.
Thank you, Kelly. I appreciate you invite to the headquarters here.
Sure. Yeah, we're in the mothership of Benny Keith here in North Little Rock, Arkansas. So you are deeply ingrained in the barbecue community, and those who think barbecue is just a style of cooking don't understand. Can you tell our listeners the various societies and competitions you've been engaged with and what it's like to be an active member of that barbecue community?
Absolutely. Matter of fact, there's several large communities that we're involved in. KCBS, I'm sure you probably know about that.
Kansas City Barbecue Society?
Yes, sir.
Right.
That's a pretty large one.
Oh, yeah.
That, and, of course, we were talking before, MBN, which handles, Memphis and May and that type of stuff. And, of course, the new growing trend of organization that's going is State Cook-Off Associations, which is the SCA. And we've been doing that for several years. I actually started cooking with a group of guys in the Jonesboro area, and then they all retired, and I kind of took over the reins from them.
Right.
And it kind of morphed from there. So.
Yeah, but it's really, and I listened to Pitmasters, a podcast that you were on, and man, it gets down into the weeds. I mean, you guys can talk some detail, and it was a little bit over my head or around my head or something, but it was really fun because, I mean, people are super into this. I've got a friend I used to work with in the newspaper business. He's got a team called Tailgate Guys out of Springfield, Missouri, and I just watch him on Facebook and see all the different stuff they're doing.
There's a whole culture wrapped around that also.
Oh, definitely. But, and we'll talk more about this. This isn't a lifelong thing. You just, mentioned that you got involved in a team and then kind of took it over. But I read that your first big breakthrough was placing 7th in the rib category of a major competition, and that was in 2019. And just to set the stake in the ground, we hope people are listening to this for years and decades to come. But we're recording in early October of 2021. So that's really was kind of a big deal for you.
It was.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, we had done good as a group. The group that I cooked before, it got a few GCs and reserves. But on my own, that was the first time that I had placed in any major competition. It was at the Shed Showdown down in Ocean Springs, Mississippi. The Shed.
Yeah,
they're big players in Memphis and May, and they put on a very well put on and organized competition. But it put us on a national level, and that's kind of where the bug, so to speak, I was bitten then. I was like, I've got to go all in now. So I worked on developing stuff back home and continued working as a nurse at a regional hospital where I lived at in Jonesboro, and continued on with cooking for the folks there, working on my recipes and just snowballing from there.
Yeah, I wish I'd worked at that hospital because I've been eating your... And so I think you may have given us a hint where Hogs comes from. Yes, it's not obvious if you didn't know that you're an ER nurse by training.
Sure.
So is that where the trauma comes from?
Yes, sir. I've spent the large portion of my adult career working in emergency medicine. I worked as an EMT and a SWAT medic for several years for a local county sheriff's office. Progressed on to ER nurse, and then I worked, there.
Well, when you're involved in being an EMT and you're involved in the ER, trauma is what it's all about.
Yes, sir.
Something bad has happened to make me have to need you.
I know. And I was very wary of that. I was talking to Tiffany on the way here, my girlfriend, but I was very wary of that name when I first came up with this team.
Right.
But now it's morphed into something that everyone associates our story with.
Sure.
And it's just
and you got
a journey.
People are listening to this, but I'm looking at the logo on Tiffany and your shirts and the logo on your rub that I'm excited to take home and test out. But branding's a big deal, and looks like you got the branding thing kind of nailed down. Did you all develop that did you have a friend or hire somebody to create that logo?
We actually had a friend that was a graphic designer.
Sweet.
And I told him, this is, if anyone wants to develop a brand, this is how we did it. This is the aspects of our life. This is the stuff that people know us, that truly know us. This is what we've been involved in, and this is what we want to accomplish. And this is what he came out. And literally, it was almost dead on. And I had just a few little tweaks.
That's really cool.
If you do look, it has a bandage on top of its head.
Oh, I see that now. Yeah. And you and Tiffany both are qualified to put that bandage on anybody,
yes,
right? So you were talking about the fact that you were doing some competitions and you bring your leftovers to work with you, and all of a sudden people are like, hey, my brother's having a birthday party. Can you make some barbecue? My daughter's getting married. Can you? I mean, that's sort of you had a lot of happy customers that were eating your barbecue. And
not just regular leftovers. I'm talking about competition leftovers.
Oh, exactly.
So you're getting the highest quality meats.
Yeah.
Mostly obtained through Benny Keith.
Yeah.
And we would cook. I would bring to the hospital at night. This is what we got left. It would just, and Tiffany knows this, it would grow bigger and bigger and bigger. I would be cooking a massive catering meal almost every shift for everyone in the hospital. The whole hospital would come down and eat.
Wow.
And then it would become, hey, will you cook for my brother's wedding? Hey, my son's having a birthday party. Can you cook for that? And then on my days off, I was cooking majority of the time, like all week long. I would nurse and then cook all week long.
Would you just do it out of your house?
I would.
Yeah.
Sir.
You must have had, I mean, that's a lot of cooking.
It is.
And of course, you must have had a smoker because
yes,
you're doing some smoking.
Yes, sir.
And so we were talking earlier, so you're working in ER nurse, and, again, COVID now has been with us for more than 18 months. And most of the time we've heard about shortage of healthcare workers and obviously the burnout and the trauma of being a healthcare professional in a COVID environment, because it's just so sad to watch these people that you can't do a whole lot for, but sometimes you can help them. But early in the pandemic, that wasn't the case. You got furloughed.
Absolutely.
I mean,
the beginning.
I don't think people remember that there was a time where we didn't need as many because nobody was coming to the hospital.
I was really scared. I was a career nurse.
Yeah.
I planned on finishing my career at that hospital and come in and, hey, we're going to cut hours. We're going to cut you guys loose. I don't know if we can call you back. And I was like, well, what do I do? I have this reserve built up for my family, but I can't rely on getting a call back. So me and Tiffany decided to leave, and we did some travel nursing. So, and at the time, a lot of the travel companies wasn't hiring nurses either.
Right.
But we had some good recruiters. They set us up with some jobs in Northern California. And it's funny how life works out, but we got sent to an area that was real eclectic in like culinary.
Sure.
And we just soaked all that up while we were there working.
Yeah, and Northern California is a beautiful part of the world. And so some of the things that you learned there helped define what you do today. And sort of what would be some of those things besides just general culinary coolness? I mean, did you pick up on particular things that you've put into place with Trauma Hogs?
Absolutely. We're foodies by nature.
Right.
Matter of fact, we went to a lot of places and we would take aspects from different places. And I'm a seafood fan. I just do barbecue because that's what I know. That's my wheelhouse. I did it with competition stuff. But when we went to Northern California, we seen all these trained culinary chefs and experts put their twist on different dishes. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, why can't I use that twist? Same thing with that that rub.
Right, yeah.
So
that's cool. But you're in California, and home is Brookland, Arkansas, which looks to be about 10 miles outside of Jonesboro.
Yes, sir.
And I guess you just felt like you needed to get back there, right?
I did.
Both
Actually, we worked for 6 months in Northern California, which is Eureka area, which is up in the Redwoods.
Yeah, beautiful.
And we decided to do one more contract in Pensacola, Florida. We met some lifelong friends in both areas, which and now we're going to be going back to Pensacola for some catering opportunities later on.
Cool.
So
That's another fun part of the world to be in.
We were glad to be back home, though.
Yeah.
Missed our family. We have kiddos, and we were glad to get back to start our business.
Right. So, at one point, again, you've done catering, you've done competitions, but you took a big plunge when you decided to get your barbecue trailer, and that was the subject of a whole lot of the conversation on the podcast I heard about. And we probably won't get into that level of detail, but talk about it, because I remember you saying, I kept researching, and everything said go to Georgia.
I did.
From a particular company, right?
I did. Actually, we have friends in the Hernando area. Malcolm Reed, he has a national YouTube following.
Yes.
Some other guys that are with him also. I went to them, looked at their setups, and me and Tiffany decided to reach out to Southern Dimensions down in Georgia. They're one of the leading concession trailer builders in the United States. Very welcoming. They let us come down toward their facility. We seen how each trailer's handmade, and we decided that's the setup we wanted to go. And we didn't just go small trailer. We have a huge state-of-the-art trailer.
I've seen it. Yeah, yeah. How long is it?
It's 34 feet.
Yeah, that's
yes, sir.
But
heavy.
But you can tote it with a truck. I mean,
yes,
you
sir.
can just.
We have capable equipment to pull it. And, but it does has some state of the art equipment in it that normal concession trailers don't have.
Well, I heard like even some solar panels.
Yes, sir. We're solar capable.
Good for you.
In case we get out to an area that has noise restrictions,
right,
or some different stuff like that, we can kill everything and still operate our concession trailer on solar panel.
Right, and so you can get it tricked out just the way you want to. I mean,
absolutely,
customize it the way you wanted it, right?
Oh yeah, I seen some very elaborate concession trailers there, and I've seen some simple ones.
Yeah,
and I like the way the company did business. It was just built from the ground floor. It's not like a regular enclosed trailer and then put stuff in it. This is all built for a restaurant quality.
Right. So is it got enough capacity that you can do all of your catering cooking out of that too?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, and a lot of people can't do that. I mean, I know some more food trucking people that they have to have a commercial kitchen.
Right.
And a lot of times they cook in a commercial kitchen and then serve it out. But it's a turnkey situation. You can do it all right there.
Oh yeah,
yeah, which is really cool too.
And we cater to large corporations too. We're associated even with the hospital system where I worked at and furloughed. We're now corporate vendors for them.
Yeah, well, it's kind of ironic, but
oh yeah,
hey, no hard feelings. It's led to a cool life.
We have
different
friends.
World.
Hey, we have friends there.
Sure,
we know the struggle of the healthcare industry, and we want to give back to that. Honestly,
yeah, I can see that in everything that you do. And again, just to go back, barbecue is just a passion, and I won't say it's a religion, but people care passionately about it. And unless you're just not a meat eater, everybody loves it. I was in Memphis this last weekend, and I ate at a place called Payne's Barbecue. Actually, my friends brought me a sandwich and some ribs because I was watching a disastrous Razorback football game at the time. But so good. But people just swear by the barbecue that they love. So you have your trailer set up, and I heard you say on a fairly busy thoroughfare. Is that in Brookland and Jonesboro, in between? Where do you put it?
It's actually on a U.S. Highway 49. It's between Jonesboro and Paragould.
Yeah, 49's a big...
And we're actually at a major intersection with a lot of manufacturing facilities close to us, so I catch a lot of that. But, it's all about placement, too.
Sure, yeah, the traffic. So I think you quoted some numbers of tens of thousands of cars that roll by there, and people know where you are. Is it? I guess because again we're 18 months into COVID, and hopefully we're going down and staying down this time. But I guess it's just a safer bet than brick and mortar.
It is actually. If you look at a national survey, brick and mortar's down, and I'm a brick and mortar fan. I kind of feel bad for the guys, but we kind of have the business model of being mobile.
Yeah.
We did it as a nurse. We were mobile as a nurse.
Right.
And we met friends in different areas, and I want to be able to take our product and our stuff to those areas. And what that has led into is a whole developing different business model of mobile catering.
Right.
Which is morphing into something right now that is going to be amazing, actually.
Well, it was interesting. I heard you say that, you are mobile, so you go on the road and you do events and you do corporate things, and you're going to do something in Pensacola. And meanwhile, people on Highway 49 are going, where are you? You come home and they're like, where did you go?
I'm glad you mentioned that. That is a real problem.
Yeah.
Because now we have built following back home.
Sure.
And now we've got all this outlying major corporate vendors in different areas that want us too. And of course, we've already did some studies on how we were going to take that in. And we've got some big plans coming.
Good. Well, I heard, it may be time to call back to Georgia and say, I need another one.
I believe that's one of the plans.
I need to do it. That's cool. Well, listen, that's such a good story, and we so appreciate you being here. And thanks, everybody, for listening. We're going to take a short break here on Heaping Spoonful. We'll be back in just a bit with Jason Cottingham of Trauma Hogs BBQ.
I hope you're enjoying this episode of Heaping Spoonful. We at Benny Keith Foods enjoy talking about the food scene almost as much as we enjoy providing the top quality ingredients that help restaurateurs and chefs across the Mid-South create their magic. Now let's dive even deeper into the culinary world with your host, Kelly Bass.
All right, welcome back, everybody. On Heaping Spoonful today, we're going to continue our conversation with Jason right now. You've got an active Facebook page, which is, I'm sure, and I know I do it. Like sometimes I'm wondering what the restaurant catty corner to where I work's having for soup today, and I look on there because I want to see if it's something I want to go get. And I'm sure a lot of folks use your Facebook page to keep up with you on a day-to-day basis. And I scrolled down and quite a bit, and one thing I saw posted a lot was, "Sorry, we're sold out." And I guess that tells us what we need to know about the demand for your barbecue. Of course, you don't want to create a whole lot more than you can sell.
You want to run lean.
Yeah.
You want to run the most efficient way that you can do. But I want you to know this is the truth, and I tell every customer coming up, I cook a massive spread every day, a large spread.
Right.
It's just the engagement of everyone coming in has just been large. It keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And to keep up with demand, it's a large, it's not always good to sell out. I mean, people see that and they're like, oh, you sold out. I'm in the business to sell.
Right.
And I want to sell the maximum amount to do good. But I think it's a double-edged sword.
Sure. And you got to, like you say, you got to gauge. You don't want to end up with a whole ton of leftovers, because the leftovers, while they're great for your friends at the hospital, these aren't competition leftovers, but you want to serve fresh food to everybody every day. And so, and I'm sure you tweak it and you tweak it and you tweak it. So let's get into a little bit more detail about your food, and let's start with your pulled pork. You're very loyal to one brand here, and tell us about that brand and why you choose to use it, because I know it's not the cheapest one out there.
It's not, and you get what you pay for in this business.
And what's it called?
Prairie Fresh.
Prairie Fresh.
They're a pork distributorship out of Kansas. They're in the Lenexa area, and I built a partnership with them doing competition barbecue stuff, built relationships with some of the reps and stuff. And I have to be honest with you, I've used lesser brands. You get lesser product though,
right,
and lesser quality. I'm all about, we're a craft barbecue type, system.
Sure.
I want to get good quality, and I want to know each time what kind of yield I'm getting from my meat.
Very important.
And with Prairie Fresh, I don't have to worry about that. They have a superior product in their natural line and then their prime line that we've been using. And I'm just a loyal fan.
Yeah, and that's good. And I promise you, they appreciate that. Oh, yeah. Definitely. And Arkansas is pork country for barbecue, and that extends to ribs too. And I've heard you say that you're a brisket guy, but this isn't Texas. So
It's not.
Do you do brisket or not?
Actually, I do.
Yeah. And
I use a product from Benny Keith.
Oh, cool.
I use their one of their blank brands, I guess, from Texas. Is it the 1895?
Yeah.
And It goes great, actually.
I love brisket, but again,
pork.
and I heard you say, you're a brisket guy by nature, but you also have to serve your audience, and it's pork barbecue in Arkansas.
Oh, being close to Memphis, you've got to be in the pork game. Pulled pork is, ribs are king.
Yeah,
and you got to hone in on which section of the state you're in. So.
Yeah, and again, I told you that listening to the Pitmaster podcast got me in a whole different world. But I heard y'all talking about the money muscle.
Yes, sir.
I guess I've eaten plenty of that, but that's just part of a pork butt, basically?
It is. It's actually on the pork butt. It's the opposite side of the bone side. Okay. And you'll see a marbleized section of meat on that side. And during competitions, that's what a competitor will hone in on to do their presentation with. And it's the choice piece of the pork butt.
Sure. Anyway, well, I'm sure I love it. Yeah, I know. So tell us about your tacos and your nachos, and just build them for us. I mean, I know they're two different things, but just talk about what goes into those.
Absolutely, we use fresh products from Benny Keith. I use our soft tortillas. We use our pulled pork from Prairie Fresh. We build our own cilantro, our pico, with fresh cilantro, a lime, and of course everything that goes with that. A Monterey Jack cheese. And we go a little wild sometimes. We do a crushed flaming hot Cheeto on it with a little texture, or even crispy jalapenos, guac, sour cream, all that kind of stuff. And it's been a big hit on Tuesdays.
Yeah,
so
Taco Tuesday.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's good. And how about your sliders?
Our sliders have been a big hit. We use a choice bread that I get through Benny Keith. And I have a lot of compliments on just the bread portion of it, not just the meat that I hone in on.
Right.
But we get quality products from Benny Keith, and you can tell it brings customers back.
But I heard you say there's some pickle that you use on there.
I do.
Yeah.
I use a Killer Hogs brand pickle from Malcolm over in Hernando.
Yeah, that's
and it's a spicy garlic pickle, and they also have a big dill pickle, which is a crispier version of a dill.
Yeah, so. and the guys talking to you on that podcast I listened to, they knew all about that.
Oh yes, it's a very popular product.
And again, y'all speak the same language. So, am I missing any other important things that you serve? Is there anything you do much of that we haven't talked about?
Actually, I've got into the sausage game.
Oh, good.
We're going to be doing some choice sausages, some pepper jack, cheddar sausages that we're going to start hand doing at the store.
Oh, good.
Coming up. Our brisket, we're going to be doing burn-ins soon. Every customer that comes up knows that we do burn-ins. I kind of I'm trickling everything into the menu. When you first start a business, you just want to kind of start small.
Yeah.
Menu-wise.
Yeah.
And then you want to build.
Right. Once I know how to do this right, then I'll learn how to do this right.
Yeah. And we're at that point now where we're getting versed on our brisket. And we've also got some chicken recipes and some hot plate stuff coming for the winter. We have a lot of people that come from the industrial area that need hot plate lunches and stuff like that. So I want to focus in on that. Maybe barbacoa chilies. I have a recipe. I don't know if you know about barbacoa beef cheek.
Yeah, I do.
And I'm excited to integrating that into our menu.
Yeah, that's really, really cool. So I see Prairie Fresh and Royal Oak and Green Mountain Grills and some other things listed on your website. Are they sponsors, or are they just brands you're loyal to?
They're actually brands that we're loyal to at this point. Definitely Prairie Fresh and Royal Oak. We're friends with a lot of key individuals within both organizations. Royal Oak has been a major advocate for small business over the past year. They have a new product out that is their charcoal pellet. It's new to the market. Most pellets, are a wood form, and then you put it in your pellet grill. Well, this is already charcoal.
Oh, okay.
Put it in your pellet grill, and then it's water resistant. So a lot of problems with a lot of the pellet grills is the humidity in Arkansas.
Right.
And when you get that, it makes that pellet swell. Makes auger problems and a lot of stuff to your grill. But Royal Oak has developed this water-resistant pellet. Doesn't swell from this southern humidity, and you have a lot better product that burns hotter and a good charcoal taste to the meat that you're cooking.
Well, they're smart to be innovating, and learning what needs to be out there that's not out there.
Yes, sir.
And I saw a picture, I guess, on your Facebook page of you working, and I saw the sponsors logo or the brands logos on. I was like, man, it's like a golf tournament. You know, you see these guys walking with all these things on there. So and then they're on your trailer too. So I just love the whole way this business works.
And to be honest with you, those guys have helped me build my business.
Sure.
We were one of the first retail stores. I have a small retail store also, and we got to roll out the pellet before any big box chain. So Royal Oak reached out to us, hey, you want to try this before we roll it out to the big guys? We did that, sold completely out of it. And I'm loyal to those guys.
Yeah.
They helped me build my business, just like Benny Keith,
right?
Prairie Fresh, Royal Oak. It's not because I want a sponsorship. It's technically not a sponsorship.
Right.
They've helped me build my business.
Sure. And people count on you to have the high quality products and things that you use. And then there's, again, we're sitting here looking at it, there's a whole other side of your business, which are the rubs. And obviously you created these, I would say, so you could use them in your own cooking. But how did you decide to go ahead and make the rubs a business product? I mean, a retail product.
I was cooking a lot and taking stuff to the hospital like we were talking about. And I would use a certain flavor profile on every product that we were, competition stuff that we would do. And I would get like a blind panel from these nurses and doctors.
Yeah.
And they would tell me, this is not any good. This is good. Hone in on this.
Right.
And I would just tweak stuff. Oh, this is literally like a 2-year process of getting this done. Then I think the turning point was when we went to California. I seen some culinary ideas. I incorporated one of it into our SPG, which is our salt, pepper, garlic.
Right.
And it's taken off leaps and bounds. A lot of the guys are using it now in the competition circuit. Wow. A lot of teams have GC'd already with our products. I've even reached out to some vendors out in California. I did some supply chain visits with them out there, and now it's taken off on the West Coast. So you talk about from something to nothing right here.
Right.
I'm the epitome of it. So.
Right. Well, you know, and once people start placing and getting recognized in competitions, and then they find out they're using your product, then that's going to make more people want to use your product for sure.
Very happy.
So you started off making these just like in your kitchen, I'm sure.
I did.
But when you went to, when you got beyond your website and got in retail stores, because you told us before we started that you're in 30 or 40 stores, that changes the whole game, right? I mean, then all of a sudden you got to get inspected and you got to get, talk about that process.
It's actually a 2-year process. Has to be inspected by the FDA, which is a big deal. Mm-hmm. You also have to have UPC verification. We also have that. It also has to be inspected by the state's weight measures board. Right. And we passed all the measures. And there's one other certification I'm in the process of getting for larger big box chains type marketing. And we're almost ready at that point. So pretty excited about that.
So I'm guessing you don't have a huge team of people. This you two making all this happen? Yeah.
We actually have another person, David.
Yeah.
He's with us too. He's actually he's been my best friend for 25 years. If we did competition stuff together, and now he helps us. He's a partner with us too. Yeah,
good. Well, yeah, you got too much work to do so not to get too deep into your business, but when you think about your potential, your total sales breakdown between food trailer, catering, and retail, is retail much of a chunk of that?
I would say it's a small part of it. Yeah. And it takes a lot to be a small business these days. It takes every little piece of the pie. And I knew that getting into it. I just didn't want to put all of my eggs into one section of my business plan. You know, we have a 3-pronged business plan of a retail, daily food service, and then, of course, our rub business too. And, small business is tough these days.
Sure.
There's a lot of downfalls and pitfalls that you can fall into. And I wanted to pull from every area that we could pull into to make it as a small business. I would say, though, that our daily sales and our trailer and catering sales is probably our biggest portion of it.
But I would think, there's only a certain amount you can cook and serve every day. But these retail products, I mean, the sky is the limit. I mean, again, you can scale it without having to do all the smoke and all the stuff. I mean, you can only, again, with one, even with two, you can only do so much. So there's a lot of potential for these, particularly as they take off, and that's got to be exciting.
A passive income.
Yeah, and that's exciting though, knowing that if it just keeps taking off, then we'll just keep making more and all that stuff. So how does cooking for competition judges differ from cooking for hundreds of people that come buy your product? Is it just a different process or different ingredients, or what's the difference in a barbecue competition and just creating barbecue for the masses? So
it's a completely different things.
Okay.
Competition is a more detail oriented, a lot of a very complex flavor profile, layering. You're going to put different layers at different times, pull off at certain times. And, a competition rib is not the same as an everyday rib. The general public expects pull off the bone rib, which I enjoy. Not on a competition scale. They want like a bite through, like on a KCBS, they want to take that bone, completely bite through, and not pull away from the bone. So there's a lot of differences, a lot more detail involved in the competition side of it. But what I have found, some of those processes that I used in competition translate into daily service and catering service, and I think it makes a better product. So talk about the workload, because people don't really understand, and again, particularly I think with barbecue, because of all the time and things that it takes to do it. You're working hard. Yes, sir. It takes a lot of hours.
Yeah.
There's a long cook time, usually 12 hours on average on anything besides ribs. And it takes a lot of hours. I worked a lot of long hours as a nurse, especially during the COVID stuff over the year. But I worked way harder as a barbecue pit master. I put way more hours in. When it's your own business, you're gonna really put in the hours to make a go at it. So,
but you get a lot of satisfaction out of it.
I do. I love when people come up to the trailer and like, you're the only barbecue I eat. We had a gentleman come up this week, and I'll even share this with you, but he was in the ICU with COVID. Mm-hmm. His wife came to the trailer and bought our homemade banana pudding and some other stuff. And he told me and Tiffany out in the parking lot, he goes, that's the only thing I could eat while I was in the ICU. And he goes, I wanted to come back and tell you guys that. That meant a lot.
Oh, that kind of choking me up right here.
Or even another example, there was I don't want to get into a lot of details. There was a death in the community where we were at. Mm-hmm. We were involved in helping the family, feed the family after their grieving portion. And the gentleman, when we got to the house, he was like, I told him I knew him personally. I'm like, I'm sorry I had to come up here and do this. He goes, I want you to know you're the best part of the day. Thank you for bringing your food.
Yeah.
And
it's
that.
That warms your heart right there.
Yeah.
No, I know. And this is actually the 50th Heaping Spoonful broadcast that we have done. And
congratulations.
Yeah, well, they keeping me around. But one of the, you see similarities in themes, but one of the main themes is the chefs and restaurateurs going like, I just like looking at people's happy faces when they eat my food. I love the fact that they're like, this is really, really good. And I try to make a point when I go eat to tell, the people, it's like, this makes me happy. And I really appreciate all that you've put into doing this, because you're doing it really well. So that's great. I'm really proud of you. So thanks, Jason, for being my host today on Heaping Spoonful. Continued good luck with Trauma Hogs and all that you're doing. I'm going to be keeping up with you on that Facebook page. And I get to Northeast Arkansas, I'll come by the trailer for sure. And thanks to all you listeners out there. New episodes of Heaping Spoonful are posted the first and third Tuesday of each month. So keep an eye and an ear out for those, and go back and check the ones you've missed. So thanks, everybody. Have a great day.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of Heaping Spoonful. On behalf of all of us at Benny Keith Foods, Mid-South Division, please know how much we love connecting you with the legends of the culinary scene and their unique stories. I look forward to the next time we can offer you another Heaping Spoonful.